Thank goodness for this.
Yeah?
Just kind of cruising around over the holidays, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, last week, we were in and out. Like, are we not going to talk to Greg Cosell again in 2025?
Oh, we will.
Phew.
And we did last week. You were gone.
I know you did, yes.
Dan Devone held his feet to the fire.
Really?
Not really.
I mean, what does somebody get Greg Cosell for Christmas? You know what I mean? Like, what the guy who seemingly never comes out of that room that you're sitting in there, Greg. Like, what do you? Right?
Well, that's probably true.
Okay, River Island's guest line. It's Greg Cosell. What'd you get for Christmas, Greg?
Nothing really. And I was here pretty much all day on Christmas.
Exactly.
It would be a comfy desk chair for me, or like one of those chair cushions.
I was thinking like a DoorDash gift card. Do you eat? Does somebody send something into the room there with you?
Well, there is a cafe here at NFL Films, for breakfast and lunch, not for dinner.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, a DoorDash after 5 p.m. card. That's what we're gonna try to send Greg.
No, I emailed you guys some stuff. Did you get it?
I'd have to check.
It depends on what email address you use. Did you really email us? I did not see anything.
Yeah, at Odyssey.com.
Oh, well, yeah. I checked that one after the show. I'll look at
check it now.
Okay, well, next time, for Dibs' first question, I'll log on and look. Yeah. But right now, I want to be very focused on my first question for you, Greg. And it is this. Can you give us very, very nervous 49er fans some sort of an overarching review of why the defense, I get no Fred, no Nick, but like how bad is this? They look the last couple of weeks like they're having a hard time stopping any pass play and still no pressure on the quarterback. So what do you see with this group?
Well, I think the pressure part is a major deal. They're not really able to generate a lot of pressure with a four-man D-line pass rush. Obviously on that final drive for the Bears when they stopped them with actually a very interesting concept on the final play, but still they tried to dial up some pressure. When you play a Ben Johnson team, you're playing as good an offensive play designer in terms of the pass game as there is. That's a very difficult offense to play against. And, it's funny, I came away from watching that side of the ball, and I said to my guys on the matchup show, I said, I think that Williams is going to be a great player. I mean, he's really, really gifted. He's getting more and more comfortable in the Ben Johnson offense, which is, as I said, it's really, really good. When I look at an offense, and I think Kyle Shanahan's like this as well. But, what I'm looking for is how they go about attacking with their concepts, because that's ultimately what it is. You're trying to create – that's what coaches do all week long. They're trying to create concepts that break down the defense and present clean reads and throws for the quarterback. And you're dealing with two guys in Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan. You probably put Sean McVay in that conversation that do it as well as anybody in football.
And you look at like what they did and trying to counteract Ben Johnson and how he was kind of carving him up. I want to go back to that last drive and thank you, Greg, for your notes, all 7 pages.
We see them now. They were in our spam folder, Greg, so we found them.
That'll never happen again, though, Greg.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I was giving you a present so you'd have all that stuff before we talk.
It's funny because this reads like my own notes read, which is kind of, it's kind of confirming. It's like confirmation bias. But that last play from the 2-yard line, walk us through. And Mark and I were going back and forth because the defense was not good, but I thought on that final drive, the defense actually mixed it up a little bit and did some things. So tell my partner here how the Niner defense kind of bowed up on that last drive.
Well, they did something specific that was obviously planned. They didn't, that wasn't something Salah at that moment said, oh, let's try this. What they did is they were in nickel. They rushed both edge players, Farrell and Huff, and they deployed Winters as a spy on Williams, and they had 8 in zone match coverage. So they basically took away every throwing window that was available for Williams. And he had no throw within timing and structure, and he had to make something happen improvisationally. Now, when I'm sitting here with my clicker, my trusty clicker here, and watching the play, 15 times, I thought he possibly had to throw to Loveland, but, I'm not Williams, and it's easy with a clicker watching it 10 times. But he chose not to try it, and he ended up running around, and he had to throw it somewhere, and it was incomplete. So, it comes across as being phenomenal coaching by Salah because he showed him something that I guarantee they did not expect.
Does he see the field well, Greg, or is that still? And I'm talking about Caleb Williams. I get the arm talent, but how do you sort of evaluate his vision?
Well, I think it's getting better and better in the context of the Ben Johnson offense. Because that's an offense that presents certain things, and obviously every offense, Kyle Shanahan would tell you this, is trying to get the quarterback to throw to the primary read in the play call. That doesn't always happen. There is a defense out there, but I think Williams is getting better at that. Don't forget it's his first year in a very difficult offense to learn. So I would say, I tell you what, watching this tape, and we know that the 49ers don't present a great pass rush. We know that, but that's not really that relevant when you're studying the quarterback who you have to isolate when you watch him. I felt like I was watching a veteran quarterback that was pretty comfortable playing. Now, is that going to happen every week? Maybe not, but I clearly think he's getting better and better.
And what did you see from the Niners secondary, particularly on some of those big touchdowns, the one to Burton, where it felt like there was just a couple of blown coverages by the Niners?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was blown per se. That's always a tough thing. That's one of their staple concepts. There was kind of a dagger element to it. I don't think they ran it great, but you're getting a vertical and you're getting a dig. That's what dagger is. But the 49ers were in essentially what looked like quarters, and they used Loveland really well. He ran right across the field to hold down Mustafa, who was the safety, the boundary safety. And then what happened is the other safety, Brown, sort of got caught. He wasn't sure whether to play the dig ball, which is 99.9% of the time where the dagger concept goes, or to play the vertical route, which is normally a clear route. And you could tell because Burton ended up putting his arm up, and he's like, oh, I think I'm open here, so throw it to me. And Williams flicked it 50 yards in the air, and there was inside pressure by the D tackle West versus Tooney, but he just flicked it. I mean, that's where you see the arm talent.
Greg Cosell, executive producer, NFL Films, with us. And now that I can see your notes, Greg, I think listeners would get a kick out of this. I'm going to read one of these bullet points.
You can put them out there if you want. Yeah, so I'm totally convicted in what I type.
I love this because this.
Which page are we on here, Mark? I want to follow along.
I'm just on the front page because this one caught my eye, and
has to be about Purdy.
Of course it is, and I also think though it'll give people an idea. And I have no problem saying this. I know my partner over here thinks he's a mini Cosell. When I'm talking to you and reading this stuff, I'm like, it turns out I'm a doofus with popcorn. That's all I am when I watch football, because like to know the details that are going on that you see, I don't think most fans get this. So check this out. Greg brings up the Jake Tonges 18-yard catch on 3rd and 7 on the first possession of the game for the Niners. It was actually technically the second possession because the first one was that pick six, but we get what he's talking about. All right.
Let him cook.
So just let me read this to everybody. Tonges 18 yards on 3rd and 7 on first possession was a great snapshot of Purdy as a post-snap operator. Play concept was Pearsall on the dig to the field part of 3-man route combination, but Purdy read the bracket double on McCaffrey release into the boundary and went to Tonges, who was the boundary X in the 1x3 set versus outside leverage linebacker Edmonds in the Bears cover 1 scheme. Y'all got that? Did everybody get that?
I got it.
Yeah. Okay, you got it.
How could you not see that?
I love that. I mean, seriously, what? That's my response, Greg. What?
Well, that's football. You know, I mean, that's what I do. I do football.
Yeah, you do football.
But just, I mean, playing off that, the fact that they were able to use Tonges, the backup tight end, as the boundary X, what does that say about the versatility of this roster and the Shanahan offense?
Well, because the offense is so brilliantly choreographed. And I'm not going to sit here and say Tonges would do the same thing Kittle does, but he can step in, and he ended up having 4 or 5 catches. I mean, is he going to run after catch like Kittle? Of course not. He's not the same player, but the offense doesn't change in a dramatic way. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't change at all. I'm not in the meetings. I don't know what Kyle and the staff do specifically, obviously, but I guarantee it's not, oh my God, Kittle isn't playing, we have to run a brand new offense. It's not like that at all. It's a very choreographed offense. They do what they do. It's very systemic. I mean, it's a very fun offense to watch.
Greg, Trent Williams goes out on the very first play. And so I want to know what you saw and what you thought of Austin Pleasance filling in.
Well, I'll tell you what, he certainly didn't kill them by any stretch of the imagination. If memory serves me correctly, they put up quite a few points and didn't seem to have trouble moving the football. So we're not going to sit here and say he's Trent Williams. No one's going to say that, but he did not force them to totally change what they wanted to do.
And for the third time, the Niners come from behind in the fourth quarter, which is something Shanahan's offenses don't always do. And I want to take it back to your notes, page 3, for those of you scoring at home. Wow. The Jennings 38-yard touchdown.
One of my favorites.
Walk me through that play, Greg. It looked like pure play-calling majesty.
It was. When I watched that play, I didn't see it live because, that's a little past my bedtime, guys. But
no doubt.
So when I saw the tape, I said to my guys, I said he had to anticipate that coverage because that was a classic cover 2 beater. I mean, he put Juszczyk in motion to make sure Jennings would get free access into his dig route. He took Tonges from the other side and had him attack the middle hole defender Edwards, which would hold him down and not allow him to get depth and get in the way of Jennings. And then it was essentially a high-low between the hashes. He had Tonges hold down Edwards. They threw behind Edwards, and that's a hard throw, guys. That's what we call a firm touch throw. You can't drive the ball because it's too low, but you also can't throw it with too much arc because then the safeties get involved. So it's a firm touch throw, but it ends up being a high-low concept between the hashes with Tonges vertical stem attacking Edwards to hold him down and Jennings running the dig behind Edwards and in front of the safeties. It was so sweet.
Greg, you have stated on this show before that Brock Purdy is the greatest quarterback of all time.
The greatest.
And we've all accepted that as fact. But even with that said, these last 2 weeks, my man, I mean, let's talk about this a little bit. What are you seeing? And actually, do you see, at least within this season, him kind of having hit a little bit of another level the last few weeks?
Well, in some ways, despite the fact that Purdy has mobility, he's not a statue by any means. But in many ways, Purdy is somewhat of an old school player in that the understanding of how to play the position from the pocket is what separates him. I mean, and we speak about him being a post-snap operator because the nature of their pass game is what we call pure progression. In other words, he's not necessarily doing what we talked about this. I have talked about this, like what a Phillip Rivers or an Aaron Rodgers or a Peyton Manning did, where he controls the game at the line of scrimmage. The play is called, he gets up to the line. Now, he wants to know whether it's middle open, middle closed, or if there's a blitz. But beyond that, he's not worried about every element of the defense. So he's just going through the read, and he sees the defense as he's dropping back and immediately knows where to go with the football. It's just innate. He's a master at that. And these are the details and the nuances and the subtleties of the position that are very, very hard. And one reason he was the last pick in the draft is because the college game, guys, is so different that you don't have to do this in college. So people didn't know he had this innate trait. And it's really high level. It's quarterbacking at a high level. And it's not because, he can run around and make plays, which we know he can do. I mean, obviously, when he threw the touchdown to Juszczyk, if Mahomes or Allen made that play, we'd be watching it for months. With Purdy, it's just you move on to the next play.
Yeah, and the way he was able to slither and then shimmy and then threaten the linebackers and then deliver the ball. The other one that struck me.
I like that, Dan. Could you do that again? A little shimmer
and a slither there. It was a slither. It was a shimmy. And then eventually it culminated with the Dougie. And I won't ask you to break down the Dougie, although I know you're an aficionado of many a dance move. I'm more interested in your thoughts on the read option where we know he can throw it. We know he's a post-snap operator, but now he's got that read option mobility as well.
Oh, I mean, well, he's always had good movement. I mean, he's just a different kind of mover. He doesn't look He's not explosive in a strict sense, but he's a very, very good mover. I mean, he's not a statue by any means at all. So yeah, that is an element of a game that can be used situationally.
Greg Cosell, NFL Films. Okay, let's talk Saturday. Greg, what are the 49ers looking at with this Seattle defense? I know you've talked them up already this year, so they're scoring in bunches, but this is a new challenge. I wonder if you'd speak to that.
They're very good. They're not a high percentage pressure defense. You're not going to see a ton of blitz, but yet their pressure rate is high. So they've got a really good D-line. They've got Williams and Lawrence who can line up at both D-end and D-tackle. They've got Byron Murphy, who in his second year is playing at a really high level. Ernest Jones is a really good linebacker. Maybe the key to it all, because they play big nickel as essentially their base defense, is Nick Emenwari, the rookie from South Carolina, who is just a stud of an athlete and can do many, many different things for them. And then they'll play dime when it gets to be those pure pass or third down situations. But they're essentially a big nickel defense. Now, the question is, will they stay big nickel if the 49ers, they play so much 21 personnel? And will they stay big nickel, or will they line up in what they do at times, which is essentially a 5-2 front? But I would expect that they would not want to take him and worry off the field because he's such a good player.
Especially in run support, and just looking at some of the advanced analytics, they have one of the best run defenses, if not the best run defense in football. How does that match up for what the Niners like to do? And I'm looking at your notes again. The majority of McCaffrey's carries have that pre-snap motion that you talked about. I believe it's page 4. How much of that can maybe affect Seattle?
Yeah, well, pre-snap motion in the run game is a really big deal because it changes the eye discipline of players. It changes run support. We've seen them use – this year they actually used Farrell, the tight end, in that tilted wing alignment, so they're expanding that. It'll be interesting to see. The Niners are a high percentage motion offense. But, one thing is since Purdy's been back, he's played 6 games, and they're 6-0. McCaffrey's numbers have been very good. He's been averaging 4.5 yards a rush in the 6 games that Purdy's been back. The run game has really started to come on. He gets hard yards, to me, as well or better than any back in the league. I mean, he is a fighter inside. When it's blocked for 3, he seems to get 6. He's just one of those guys. And then, of course, he had the 41-yarder this week where he kind of looked like the old McCaffrey.
Obviously, Seattle's winning a lot of games, but what is your evaluation of Sam Darnold? It felt like at halftime of the game 2 weeks ago against the Rams, people were ready to wring his neck, and then then he comes out and they come back. But how's he doing this year overall?
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I mean, at their best, they're a vertical passing team where he gets the ball down the field. Last number of weeks, it hasn't worked that way. I mean, this week he had 18 completions for only 147 yards. Their pass game looks a little stagnant right now. Look, they're playing a 49er defense that doesn't rush the quarterback particularly well. I don't know if Green is due back this week. I don't think Luter's been a problem, but obviously Green's the starter. I know Stout got hurt. I don't know what his status is. Lucas, I thought, came in and played well, but, it's just been a very, and I hate to use the word inconsistent because it's one of those words that doesn't mean a whole lot, but the Seahawks pass game has had its ups and downs. It's been uneven.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so, and I get it. There's a lot of players we don't know if they're necessarily going to be in or out, but this is a big one, Greg. There's obviously a lot on the line, so I think everyone's going to lean toward their speaker right now as you make the big pick for the Seahawks Niners game. Who do you like?
Oh boy, this is just a guess, guys. I really like the way the Niners are playing on offense right now, and I know Seattle is a very good defense. But I feel good about the Niners offense, the way it's operating, and the unevenness of the Seahawks offense, if I'm a Seahawks fan, might have me a little concerned. So this to me is a flip of a coin. But and the game's in Santa Clara, right?
Santa Clara, yep.
Yeah,
little rain in the forecast. Could be a little wet.
Oh, well, you never know, I guess, out there, right? I don't know. I would like the 49ers run game in the rain. I don't think with the Seahawks defense, I wouldn't expect McCaffrey unless he breaks one to, run for 140 or 150. But they are so committed to the run game. They're not going to give up on it. I like the Niners, but I'm just throwing what against the wall, guys.
There it is.
You're throwing picks against the wall.
With a Sharpie, Greg says the Niners are definitely going to take this one.
I guess the best way to say it for our family group is I'm throwing defecation against the rear oscillator.
Wow. Okay.
There you go. We'll allow it. That was
strong.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, Happy New Year. Big party plans?
That's right.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
I guess we say that all see you next year stuff now, huh?
Does bedtime fluctuate a little bit tomorrow night?
No, I don't think I've seen a New Year in 15 years.
What's the scouting report on beverages for you?
And I don't think I'm wrong about this. I don't think this is an arguable point, but Christmas and New Year's come during the football season, don't they?
They
Usually,
do.
yeah,
most years.
Yeah, so it's, these are just a day in the life, as the Eagles once, as the Beatles once said.
Yeah, but it's coming on a Wednesday this year. New Year's Eve is on a Wednesday, so
I'm aware of that.
No games.
I'm aware of that.
And the Eagles, it may be more appropriate, life in the fast lane, Greg. So go ahead and get after it.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Greg,
you got that right.
We can't wait to talk to you in 2026, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, guys, I love it with you. Read those notes. I sent them to you. It's a little prize.
Incredible.
I have to. I'm in my iPhone scheduling time because there's so many pages, Greg. I usually don't read that much, so I gotta get after it tonight.
Well, there you go. You got a little work to do.
Yeah, we do.
No doubt.
Right. Hey, Greg, you're the best.
Greg.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, Greg Cosell, NFL Films.